So I guess to start off with, just introduce yourself, John Clements. I'm Simon
Yeah,
Marshall. I work predominantly as a team manager for Rookie Monsters, but I'm helping GTR out with some of their media, news, etc. Um, so just introduce yourself.
yeah, I'm John Clements. Started sim racing probably just over a month ago, officially on PC. We're just a group of friends that started PSR together, really. So we're just a
Okay.
group of friends. We're not running any sort of races at the minute. We're just trying to get our foot in the door and see how things go from there, really.
Well, you have been running a few races and to quite good success from what I've seen so far. I think I first saw you in CFS ACC set of courses series, and that was give you a podium on the 6 hours of Silverstone, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had two cars in that CFS endurance, and me and Jack Roderick were in car number 15, and we actually came first. And our other sister car, I think it's 39, came third. So it was a lockout podium.
Excellent, good
It was a
job with two
PSR car.
cars. Decent, decent. Bit like
Yeah,
Aston Martin today in the
yeah,
GT
yeah,
Pro field,
definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
at Le Mans. Okay, so you met on so you all met online, presumably.
Yeah, we started in Xbox. I was a bit late to the whole gaming thing. I've never been into it, and for Christmas last year, I bought myself an Xbox and a Logitech steering wheel. Started off in Assetto Corsa, then got ACC when it came to console. I think we lasted about a month of suffering 30 frames per second before we all gave in and went PC. Literally six of us all went together. When we only know each other through online, that's how we met. It was through Xbox, through OTL. I don't know if you know the OTL. Um,
Not personally, but yeah.
on the limit, they actually came second in that CFS race.
Ah,
And
okay.
but yeah, we met all through them, and then we decided just to start our own little Discord because we sort of went away from because OTL for us was just a console thing. We thought we'd all go into PC together. Let's do our own little Discord where we can do whatever we want, sort of thing. And then
Yeah.
it's just gone from there. It's mainly just ACC at the minute, but we've
So a bunch of lads, you race
yep,
against each other to begin with.
yep,
Started chatting, built friendships. Now in like your multi-class or your driver swap events, you
exactly, yep,
grouped up as a team. And
yep.
how long have you known each other? How when did you first start chatting
I'd
to each
say we
other?
must know probably about March time is when we started to notice that we were all sort of entering the same sort of races. And
Okay.
everyone chats during practice, and then obviously for the race, it goes quiet because obviously in those sort of leagues, everyone on Xbox, everyone had to join a party. You didn't have individual things like you could on Discord, you can now. So everyone was speaking to each other, and a few of us just started hitting it off with each other, and just went from there. Really, yeah.
Excellent. And
And another thing
so
as well was they're all like, a similar pace as well, which sort of helped. So we'd always be racing against each other, and yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
good effort, good effort. So you're all from the UK or
Yeah, all
whereabouts?
from the UK, scattered about a bit. I'm sort of Midlands, and there's a couple guys further north and then a couple further south.
And your team name?
Podium Sim Racing, yeah, we just sort of come up with that one afternoon. We just decided as something.
Yeah, well, it's worked in your CFS event, didn't it? So good
Yeah, I
job.
think people are starting to notice the name a bit more, it seems.
And I can
Uh,
see the gold, silver, bronze podium sim racing for each word. The colour
yeah, yeah,
scheme there,
yeah,
yeah, I've
yeah.
just
Let's
noticed.
get something in there, I suppose.
Yeah, good, good. So that's the team. Tell us a bit more about yourself because you sent me a photo of you doing some real life racing. Tell me a bit more about yourself and your work
Yeah.
and that racing.
Well, due to COVID, I'm currently not employed at the minute, but my profession is I'm a design engineer, automotive. So I used to work for Jaguar Land Rover in a design studio. And it's hard to explain what I did, but I did like 3D modeling of exterior of the car, basically. Best way to describe what we do is we make designs what designers want actually feasible in the real world. So They come up with these crazy sketches, and then we make them into something that can actually be made into a car. But yeah, I started racing when I was probably 8 years old in go-karts. My dad got me into it. Started just at the local go-kart track, and then eventually went into more serious stuff like national level. Running around, I was probably a year or two behind Lewis Hamilton's sort of era. That's the perspective of my age. I'm 30.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I raced with guys like Henry Surtees, his son, son of John Surtees, and people like that. I wasn't the fastest because we didn't have the budget of the big guys, but we did some, top tens in national level, and I've run a few club level championships. Then I stopped that when I was probably about 15. Obviously started driving a car, did a few track days with my dad, and we decided, I think when I was 21, 22, that we'll do car racing. So I started looking into the cars, all the series going on in obviously British Championships. Started looking at MR2s. We knew someone through a friend of a friend who ran an MR2 team. So I did a couple of tests in those, and we were just about to pull the trigger on getting one. And then we discovered MX5s, which was an even bigger championship. So we started looking into that, and we noticed this is the one that seems to be where it's the one that everyone's watching at a club level. Talking, 100 car grids. So they were splitting the grids into 4 separate grids, like fast, slower, slower again, because the grids were so massive. And I started that in 2013 was my first year. I came 7th overall in my first year out of 70 cars.
Decent.
And then the second, 2014, I did Mark 1s again. And I actually got approached by a team. You can't quite see it in my avatar, but that says Team Blink. There's Blink Motorsport, Cheshire-based team. And they wanted me to race with them. So it was sort of semi-sponsored. I still had to pay them a bit, but they gave me a little bit of a good rate. And we came third in that year in the championship. Had a bit of bad luck, and there was obviously rules and regulations for all these championships to try and keep the racing as fair as possible. But there are some people that bend the rules, and I wasn't one of them people that didn't like bending the rules. So I did have a bit of a disadvantage against some of the top cars, monstrous engines. Some people were going through like 7 engines in 1 year because they were running them right on the limit. And I didn't have the budget to do that, let alone did I want to bend the rules that much. And then in 2015, I went to Mark 3 MX5s. It's called the Super Cup Championship, which had always been running alongside the Mark 1s, but it never picked up the momentum. But it had started to pick up the momentum in 2014, which was my last year Mark 1s, when Abby Eaton won that championship. Abby Eaton's a Grand Tour driver.
Okay.
There's Sikh Grand Tour drivers. And that sort of got the ball rolling. So a lot of the big guys started jumping into it in 2015 when I entered it. And I think there was about 40 or 50 cars by then in Mark 3s in total. And I came second that year.
Wow.
And I did want to follow into the next year, but my dad passed away the year before, and he was helping me pay for some of it. We were sort of going halves of most of it, and I was starting to run out of money because it gets expensive. And I haven't done anything since. I've done like one-offs here and there just to go back for the same team, but again, Blink Motorsport, and testing some cars here and there. But I'm trying to get some sponsorship to get back into it, but had no success. So that's where I started this sim racing thing, and the buzz it's 95% of real racing. It's absolutely brilliant when you have a decent race in sim racing. It's fantastic.
Excellent. Yeah. Good job. So it's good to hear. Real life accomplished driver, and you're turning to sim racing to get that buzz. Not quite all of that buzz, but majority of it.
You can't beat the smell and the vibrations, but I mean, you can get pretty damn close. But the actual competitiveness in sim racing, I'd say, is even more because it's just so much more accessible.
So there's a lot more people competing, and therefore
exactly, and all different ages.
The level is higher, and the age group is wide. There's very little restriction. A computer and a wheel, and that's it. Really, you're in.
Exactly. And it's a great place to meet people. I met yourself and the whole Rookie Monsters team, and it's just so many nice people I've met along the way. I made loads of friends through sim racing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and would you say there's a little bit of a crossover in skills? Like, some of the skills that you're learning, not really learning because you probably already knew them, but some of the skills you're maintaining in sim racing, would you say they're transferable to the real world?
100%. I'm really looking forward to getting back out on track to seeing how, if my driving has improved from sim racing, going back into real racing. Because the thing that I found hardest when I first started is I drive a lot through the feel in my butt. So driving with my eyes and just what I could feel through the steering wheel is like fantastically realistic, but I can't feel the car moving around. So I was using my eyes a lot to see the car rotating rather than feeling it rotate and the wheel going light and things like that. But it definitely is going to make me a better driver, I think. And a prime example of that is John Munro, who won. I think they've already locked out, haven't they? The GTR24 championship. Am I right?
Which class is this?
We were racing against them, GT3, John Munro and Ross McGregor of SimSport.
Oh, sorry, in the ACC
GTR.
series. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. In the GTR24 series, John Munro, he used to be my teammate in 2015 in Mark III's. And he
Oh,
came from doing solely sim racing. He did some hill climbs with his dad, but when he started with me, he didn't even have a driver's license. And he was right on the pace straight away just from sim racing. It was absolutely fantastic. And he still keeps it up now, obviously, because he's racing in GTR 24 and all sorts, I think he's doing.
excellent. So that's given us a good insight into you. We talked about
Yeah.
your team. What would you say your goals and ambitions are, like as a team, for the next year?
Next year, I definitely want to do some more endurance. We've booked in, because if you'd have asked us on Xbox, do you like endurance racing? We'd have said no, terrible. But now we can do these driver swaps and things live on the PC and stuff like that. We absolutely love it, and the team effort involved is absolutely brilliant, and keeping each other going. So we're already booked in for another endurance on the 3rd of October with Sim Sport Racing, I think it is. That's quite a big one. But I think we want to do as many endurances as we can within reason, obviously. And it'd be good to expand our Discord as well, get some other like-minded people involved and just get involved with more racing. And also a few of us want to start getting to streaming on YouTube and seeing that, because we love watching the likes of Jardier and Niels and Aris, obviously one of the developers for the actual game, ACC. We love watching their YouTube channels, so we'd like to get in on that as well and see how things go.
Yeah, that's good, and I think you'll be able to do that. You sound like you might have a following coming your way. I think the ingredients are you've got to be good to begin with. That was, I think, my downfall was the fact if you're not good, then no one's really going to learn anything from you. So you've got to be a good standard to begin with, and as long as you're entertaining to go with it, then people will watch. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
give it a try.
being good is one thing, but yeah, being entertaining is another thing. You got to be something to watch, haven't you?
Yeah, you got it's something different than the next person,
Yeah,
because there's hundreds of streamers out there, and
it's very competitive, isn't it? It's almost as competitive as the racing itself.
so any so you race ACC. Any plans to try any other sims?
Well, recently just downloaded iRacing, which one is start getting. Cause that's another one where you just have to sort of build up your ratings before you can start competing in the decent leagues and
Yeah,
endurances, etc. So we started on that, but
they
definitely
do
want to
the
go into R.
MX5s there, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're starting off in a minute.
Yeah,
So
good.
handling characteristics are very good. Um, so it's just the graphics. I haven't got a patch on ACC and the whole immersion, but that's not what it's about. It's about having a bit of fun as well.
Yeah, true.
And definitely R Factor as well, obviously, is another one. I'm going to try a few of them, but R Factor, iRacing, and ACC is probably going to be our main ones. We have another guy in the team, Connor.
Yep.
He's already started in R Factor and he's absolutely loving it at the minute. So that's a good sign. So we're trying to do it all together so we don't leave each other behind, sort of thing. So he's just been dabbling in that. I've done a bit of iRacing and Jack has as well, another member of the team. So we're going to get going on those.
So talk us through your teammates. You mentioned Connor. What was his surname, Connor?
Connor McCulloch.
Colin McCulloch,
Yeah,
and
he's the youngest one of the team. He's 19. That's from fresh still at uni.
excellent. So he's not out of a job. He's always out of a job,
Yeah,
technically, isn't
exactly. Yeah.
he? Who else? Who else we got?
We've got Jack Roderick. He's same age as me, a northern boy. Um, very quick and consistent is his main thing.
Yeah.
But he's does a lot of real track day in as well. So we're all kart petrol heads, 100%. We've got Daryl Upton, DDR, as we know him as. Another one that's fast and consistent as well. He's been lagging a bit behind. He's not long got onto PC. He's been about 2 weeks on it now because he was struggling to get. He's converted his loft into a sim room, so it's been taking a bit of time to get that done. But now he's in and he's absolutely loving it.
Excellent.
Dixie, Dean Allen, he's been sim racing a lot longer than us. He was doing iRacing years ago. Then he had a big break from it and got back into Xbox, and then gone back into PC the same time as us. He's very fast. We call him RoboCop because he would just keep ploughing in the laps at a nice pace, and sometimes it's a pain in the ass because you'll go faster to catch him, and then you'll lose it, and you can't catch him because he's just constantly banging out really consistent laps.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple of new guys that we know through Dean. It's Tim and Dan, and we're just trying to encourage them to get into the endurances as well. But they're both very fast guys, especially in the Porsche. Tim is, and they're going to be joining us for the endurance in October as well. So I'm hoping they're going to enjoy that. And I think that's the team for now.
And that endurance you mentioned in October, that is the ACC one that CFS are doing, is that right?
No, SimSport are doing this one.
SimSport.
SimSport Racing is called.
SimSport Racing. How long is it?
It's a 12-hour of Nürburgring. It's a simulated 24, so it's times 2 multiplier on there.
Got it. Times 2 tyre wear as well, maybe?
No, if the tyre wear's times 2. Not sure about that. But it's big. There's a lot of teams. It's multi-class as well. Not quite as many GT4. I think it's like 75-25% sort of split. But again, there's some big names. So Jardier's in it. Neil's, Colin Turkington, British touring car drivers doing it.
Yeah. Wow.
And a lot of fast sim guys. Very fast. But we're just hoping, if we can finish in the top half of GT3s, we'll be happy with that.
Yeah, finishing is the main goal to start off with, and go from there.
Definitely.
Cool. So a lot of your prep time is going to be put into that. I mean, talks about what kind of practice you do and how you go about your practice and your setup work.
We've done a bit earlier today, Nürburgring. We sort of jump in the practice lobby. Unfortunately, their practice lobby is a bit frustrating because it's a driver swap only one, so we can't all drive together. So we have to sort of drive swap. So we do that for a bit and just try and refine a setup. I'm slowly learning how to use Motec, so I can really fine tune the setups on the car. And I'm slowly getting there. Like when I click things, it's doing what I'm hoping it will do for the Motec, and then obviously a lot of it's feel as well. But we are getting there a little bit. But yeah, most of the time we just try and jump in a server that's mostly full. Sometimes we qualify, sometimes we don't. We try and start from the back so we can work on our traffic management, because that's a massive part of endurance. It's not just being fast, it's how you get around cars without losing yourself too much time. And so starting from the back is quite good, especially if you're in like a low SA rated lobby with some crazy drivers and you've got to try and find your way past. Yeah. But we all just we use Bentley as our nominated endurance car because, I don't know, we're just sort of all used to it, and we find it's one of the most predictable cars to drive.
What's your personal favourite? Have you got personal favourites, or do you all quite like the Bentley?
I'd say the Bentley, I've sort of grown to love it because we've been using it so much for these endurances, and obviously we're practicing as well, so we're using it. But I do like the Audi R8. I haven't tried too many cars. Obviously I did the Porsche with you guys, and I do like the Porsche, and I think ultimately is the fastest once you've got the hang of driving it around pretty much any track. But it is one of them ones where it's like you're on the knife edge the whole time you're driving it. I think the Porsche, personally. Well, the Audi I really like.
While we're on the subject of the Porsche, talk us through your race. Was it last Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yep.
How talk us through that for us?
It was good. Qualifying was a bit frustrating because obviously I was trying to get as much time in the couple of days leading up to the race with the Porsche, trying to get used to it. And I was getting some, for my own goal, I was getting some pretty decent times. I was getting mid 33s, which I thought was quite high up on the grid. But in qualifying, I couldn't break into the 33s at all. It was really frustrating. I think I was just put too much pressure on myself and I started overdriving. But anyway, we started 5th, and just as the race starts and it goes green, I got a drive through. Still not sure why. I've looked at the replay so many times, and I've got a couple of other guys in the race to look at the replay as well, and they said, I don't understand. I have had that issue at Misano before, where it's given 2 or 3 people a drive through for no reason. But anyway, I dealt with it, and I did the lap, came through the pits, did my drive through, and we dropped back. I think there was 14 in total by the time the race started. So I was in 14th place, plus 25 seconds behind the last place guy in front of me. Sorry. So I just got my nose down, thought there's nothing to lose. Just drive as quick as I can and try not to spin. And I think I got us back up into 6th by the end of my stint. And Matt took over from there and just carried on banging out these really consistent laps. And I think he was catching on the guy in front of him. And then I think the 2 leaders disconnected. Am I right? I think they disconnected.
Yeah, 2 people in front anyway. The leader and someone else possibly.
Exactly. So we ended up 4th. And at the start of Matt's stint, he was 30 seconds behind the guy in front of him. By the time he finished, he was only 10 seconds behind. So it's so frustrating. If I didn't get that drive through, we would have been definitely 3rd. 100% 3rd.
You'd match your team name, Podium Sim Racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Potentially. Yeah.
I think if we didn't get that drive through, I reckon could have hung on to the front guys. I think we had the pace to be on the front guys. But it was just hard to prove it when you're diving through traffic and cooking your tyres, making some questionably late dive bombs onto people just to try and get past.
Yeah, well, we were watching on stream. Race. There wasn't anything too dodgy that we saw. But we could see you being held up, and sometimes you just got to make the move and hope it sticks. Yeah. And I think people were aware that you'd approach them at a certain speed and weren't going to fight too hard if you made that move. So they all worked. So
all the races were really good. Yeah, I think they did notice that we was coming in hot, and didn't make me struggle to get the position, but they didn't make it easy either. So they sort of gave me the room when I knew I was there. But no, it was a really good. I did like all the drivers, were really good races, so it was nice.
And is that something you're going to try and enter as a team if there's a season 2?
Definitely. It all depends on obviously when they are, because at the minute the Wednesdays is a bit touch and go for a lot of people because obviously people are working, so it's a bit of a push to get back in time.
It's a little bit early, yeah.
But that's definitely something they would be interested in because we could have 3 cars in there, 2 in each car. And, that'd be absolutely brilliant because it won't just be us racing other people. It would be us racing each other as well. It'd be quite good fun.
And, for sure.
And see what the calendar looks like as well. But yeah, it all depends on that time. If we can arrange something a bit like what I did with Matt, where I started the race and Matt rushed home from work and he took the second stint. Hopefully we can do stuff like that. But we'll see.
And what do you think of the freedom to choose a different car every single round?
I do quite like that. It does make it a bit more interesting, and it's not just a Porsche Cup. I've entered a few other leagues, and it's just like that. But it is nice because you can choose a car that suits you for that track. Because, for example, when I use a Bentley at
Silverstone.
Silverstone, yeah, it's really again that's really good for Silverstone, the Bentley. But I used it at a different track. I can't remember what it was today. And I found it really struggled around this particular track. I can't remember what it is. I'm really sorry. So I'd use something different, I
think, from my understanding, the ACC bops each car per track. So it will have a slightly different horsepower and drag values. I'm not sure about drag, but it'll be balance of power is different from track to track. Each car.
Yeah, I think it is definitely, yeah. So they technically all should be equal, but you usually find that someone who's very good at driving a Porsche is usually the Porsche that's on top. But I think I can't remember what track it was. I think it was a really tight, twisty track, and the Bentley's just a bit heavy around the corners, a bit lumbersome. So you can monster down the straights, but around the corners it's a bit of a struggle getting it round. Although you can romp over curbs in the Bentley like they're not there.
Yes, that's one reason why I like the Bentley is
Yeah,
I like to take a lot of curb. But
same.
ACC isn't a big fan of you doing that really, because
No,
you get issues, don't you?
no, exactly. Yeah, you can get punches, you can get
Cut
pressure losses.
tires, pressure losses, yeah. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
and if your pressure goes, that's where your grip goes as well. So,
exactly. Yeah, the fine line of that 27.5 to 28 they usually look for in PSI is a fine window to be in.
yeah, especially when there's times two weather,
Yeah,
times two
yeah,
time, or especially in your fuels light. You've got to
yeah,
spread it for the whole stint, really.
yeah.
Do you ever use your whole fuel tank for the Bentley because it's got a slightly bigger fuel tank than everything else, isn't it?
No, because that was something we could have taken advantage of for that CFS endurance race.
Yeah,
Is you could on our stint calculator it said risky you could put 131 liters in, I think it was, and you could have really stretched it. If you could do a bit of fuel saving, you could have stretched it, and we could have saved a pit stop.
yeah.
But we just weren't confident enough to be able to do that. We were like, we don't know how this race is going to go. Are we going to end up driving flat out just to keep it in third position, or whatever? But it turns out, looking back, we probably could have done, because I think we lapped everyone apart from second place in that CFS endurance. So we could have taken it. We were taking it easy anyway, but we could have really throttled back and used a different map in the twistier sections to try and save fuel, and then once you got up to speed again, flick it back into the economical map so you could save fuel. But it worked out well as it was. But I think for this next 12-hour endurance, because there's three of us driving as well, I think the best stint that we could do is a 100-litre tank is calculated. Using more fuel wouldn't have actually gained us any benefit, I don't think.
Okay. I think we're going to start coming to an end now. So,
Yeah.
just give us a little bit of a wind down and a summary of your team. What's unique about your team, or what's your vision, or what separates your team from every other team out there? Or is it just like every other team out there? Come on, it can't be, can it?
I gotta say, it's quite surprising how alike we are, considering we just met through, like me and you now, we just met. We all still try and guess what each other look like. I mean, we have seen pictures now because we sort of, we know each other through social media now. So, but for, up until a month ago, we didn't actually know what each other looked like. But it was amazing how, our dark sense of humor and our dry sense of humor didn't clash. And we all found everything, everyone gets along so well. And we're trying to sort out once this COVID thing sorted, trying to sort out a karting and pub meetup so we can all actually get to know each other properly. But
So I guess you're just a bunch of like
yeah,
motorsport enthusiasts, really.
yeah. Some of us more into like, I like the driving and everything. I'm not a big fan of watching, so like I don't watch F1. I'd watch Le Mans. I went to watch Le Mans in 2018. Drove down there,
Yeah.
and but like people like Tim and Dan are really into their motorsport. They love watching it, and they know all of the facts and figures about everything. And it's much like he's a guy in Rookie Monsters that I think he works for McLaren Mercedes, isn't he?
Uh,
I can't remember who he was.
there's a guy called Ryan.
I think it might be him.
Who works at Racing Point, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. So I don't know where I got McLaren Mercedes from, but yeah. So
Well, the same thing, aren't they?
yeah.
Just put the Mercedes under a photocopier.
Yeah. But it's just like that. So they know everything. Even it would blow my mind with the amount of knowledge they know about Formula One. But yeah, we're all petrol heads, huge petrol heads. Constant pictures of cars every day to each other, and we're just obsessed with sim racing. We're really bad influences on each other.
You're going to be all single, living in a commune before you know it.
In a shed. You're going to be all Jimmy Broadbent thing.
Excellent. Well, John, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for taking time out of your day. Is there any last words, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
But thank you very much for inviting me to be racing with Rookie Monsters. It's quite nice to just get spotted for something. So
no, well, you did a very impressive race. Yeah.
obviously welcome me into your community and everything. And obviously this interview we're having now is brilliant.
Oh well, thank you very much, and well, hope to be racing against you and
Definitely,
finish on the podium with you, shall we say, in one
yeah.
of the future GTR24 events.
No, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
Excellent.
look forward to it.
Nice one. Thanks, John.